Alright, so this is what we're gonna hit first thing this morning. We're going to replace a air intake sensor. Sarah had this fail here yesterday. Got a hold of Jake, gave him the codes. He told her that they had one. She ran to Kaz and got it. And that's what we're going to replace here first thing. We're on a little bit of a side hill, so I don't know what we're going to see with oil other than there's nothing on the stick. So that's fine because we're on a hill. We're going to trust that right at the moment here. So we'll go ahead and start it up. Make sure we've got the code, or see if we see the code first thing, because that would, oh, look at this. We've got foot pegs in here. Didn't know they were in here. Alright. Oh, let's see here. See if this code comes up now. Be nice if it did, so that when we replace the sensor, we'll know if the sensor took care of the problem right away. Service interval has been exceeded, is that correct? We're over a little bit on hours, 72.76. Oil change isn't due till 73.74. Somebody must not have reset that when the oil got changed. Well, I don't see any code here for that sensor coming up present. Might not actually trigger that code until the engine temperature gets up to operating temperature, but we'll see if it's showing that code here now. ECU has codes. What was that code number? 105.03. So that did that twice yesterday. It's not active right now. So if it ain't active now, it's not going to trigger it. So we'll go ahead and swap it out anyway. We'll check the oil after it ran. If there's oil on the dipstick now. Oh, that's nice. That's not peppered up too much. Alright. Looks like we could pop this guy right out of here. socket. Yeah, the socket would be better. Yeah, that's all carboned up. Which I don't know if that's common or not. Probably could have just cleaned it. It probably would have been alright. Alright, that should be bone now. Alright, we'll give that a try. Let her have at it here, and hopefully that takes care of it. Alright, I don't like the looks of the oil level on this hill, and I want to see if it's going to trip any codes. Now that service code says we're over on hours. Oil change due at 73.74. The tractor's got 72.76 on it. So why don't we go in here, make sure we don't have any new codes present, which that code wasn't active here when we started anyways. It was carboned up. Probably could have just cleaned that off and put it back in and it might have been alright, but I would have rather have seen it trip the code. A new device has been detected. What does that mean? Does it recognize the new sensor? I don't know if it means that or not. I don't think so. If we had triggered that code earlier prior to changing it and then cleaned it off and then see if it would trip that, then we would know that the carbon that was on it was what the problem was. While that's loading, we might as well hit this end of the field here. Seat is adjusting. This is a hayfield that we had great herbicide on to kill it off, and it's obviously going to be corn. So it's still loading our new device. Well, we are actually into the next day. I didn't have much to film here yesterday. Just had a bunch of planting going back and forth, back and forth. And the 9560 had issues here yesterday after we swapped out that sensor. It tripped that same code again on that air manifold temperature sensor. So Kaz came to look at it this morning, and they have determined that the computer, the ECU that we had installed last week, has malfunctioned. So they've ordered an ECU for that, and that'll be going here not until tomorrow. So the small farm that we're on now, I'm done planting it. We've got the seed truck over in the other field. We've got a variety that's in the planter now that is just about out. We're going to dump out what's left in it. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going from a BMR variety into a conventional hybrid, just a conventional variety that is a non-BMR. It's a dual purpose variety that we're going to go into, and there's just a little bit left in each hopper. We should be able to get it out, drain it out into a 5-gallon bucket. We've done that a couple of times this year, and that works very nice. What it amounts to is about like a handful. If we had the other planter, it would amount to a handful of corn in each individual hopper. So we'll get the corn switched out, we'll switch varieties, and then we'll roll on to the next field that we're going to plant. Jared has been running the other planter, and everything has been working beautifully on that one as well. So we'll kind of show you what things look like as far as dumping these large seed hoppers out. I'm sure most of you that pay attention to the other guys on the old YouTube serial have seen that before, so we're only going to show it briefly. So we got to drive a half a mile or so to get to the seed tender, and we'll swap out seed and we'll move on to the next field. Alright, so here we are. We're up on top of the planter, and that is how much we have in the left bin. And we've got about the same amount in the right bin. So what we're going to do, we've got two different varieties on the seed tender. We've got a BMR variety in the front one and a conventional variety in the rear one. So this has a nice little gate that you can open up. 4 gates on the bottom of each hopper. However, the only problem with these gates, once you open them, you basically can't shut them until you get the hopper empty. So you don't want to make the mistake of opening that with your hopper full because of the way it shuts, and we'll kind of show you that here when we dump this out. So we're just going to dump this corn right into the seed. So when you open make sure you have something big enough to put it into. So we'll just take this pallet and throw it back in. There's about a half a pail in that first one. Need to make sure you get it. Alright, we've got both hoppers cleaned out, and we just need to figure out how much seed we need to do that next piece. I've got to do a little math here, and then we'll get this loaded up. Alright, so the variety that we're going to go after is the variety on the back of the bin here. We've got 34 acres to plant. We're going to plant 30,500 seeds to the acre. So I did the math on it. And then this particular variety here, there is 1,918 seeds per pound. So we need 540 pounds of seed to do what we are going to plant. I'm going to make sure there's talc in here. There's not enough talc, so I'm going to put some talc in there and I'll be right back with you. Alright, we've got our talc dumped in there. We got our talc dispenser on, and we're going to turn it on. Now, 540 pounds of seed. We're going to put 270 in each hopper. Alright, now that is going to put 270 pounds in there, and it's going to shut off once that is dispensed the allotted amount of weight. Hear that going in there? That scale is real nice and accurate on this seed tender. That is dispensing talc at the same time. We had to do a little bit to get the talc to come to be balanced out right. Gonna shut off here. So if we were putting seed in the individual hoppers, we could set that for a lower rate, or you could just run this manually with this button. So we'll hit this button again. Now it's starting at 270, and then it'll do the same thing. It'll run 270 pounds of seed into this hopper. It's a really nice feature. Now these hoppers here, I think they hold like 60 bushels, but we don't plant enough of any one variety to plant that all at once. So what we're going to do now is we're going to, because this is full, I'm going to take that, Mike. What we'll have to do so that we can fold this up, we'll have to swing this back into that hopper, and then we'll have to run what's in the system out. And once that, I can throw it up in there, Mike. That's good. So we'll let this, we'll shut our talc off. We'll close up our gate. And then what we'll do now is we will run what's in the auger back out and into the respectable hopper that it came from. Now, the issue that we have once in a while with this, being that it's an auger, or not once in a while, it's every time. So Jared's planting that seed there that's up front, and what we would have to do when he goes to that seed there is he would open that valve and we would still dispense it back into this hopper until we see some of that seed there come out. So we're empty. That'll shut that off. We'll fold this up. We'll let Mike get on his way. All right, all I gotta do is close these hoppers up, Mike, and then you can roll out. Make sure you spin them on good. All right, we'll fold this auger up. Is there? Can you reach it from there? Or?
Well, I'm gonna have to get in the tank.
Oh, well, I can probably reach it. A seed belt or a conveyor belt would be better, but we're dealing with this auger. This is a plastic flighted auger. We'll get that on there. That's all set to run down the road. We're just gonna close our tarp and then we're gonna send him on his way. I got a piece of dirt in this hopper. Where the heck did that come from? It come off the top of the seed thing? Oh boy. I'm gonna have to get down in there and grab that, ain't I? We don't have a shovel in the back of the truck, do we? This one on good?
You want to get in there?
Oh, I got it. That's part of a seed. That's part of a seed tote.
That wouldn't be good on the planter.
No. Alright, I climbed down in there, grabbed that, and this is part of a seed tote. So every once in a while we find these frickin' objects in with the corn. You'll find nuts and bolts, and you'll trace it back over all of your own equipment, and that stuff is never from your own equipment. This is from the seed company, you know. Broke off of a, oh well, yeah, well. All right, we'll tarp this and send him on his way. All right, we are now into the field that we're gonna plant here next with a conventional variety. Now this variety here is a channel 206, 16 something or other. And this will go both ways. This will either go for a conventional silage, or we can take this off as grain. We could take it as grain as well. Now, 2 years ago we chopped this field. Last year we combined it. We had a heck of a time getting trucks in and out of this field. We got a little laneway off the road here, and what we were doing is pulling trucks in off the road. We were pulling them in up to the top of the field up there, loading them with the dump wagon, and then what we would do is just let them get a running start to get back out onto the road. So we've got our variety typed into both the Green Star display and into our iPad here that we're running field view off of. What we're going to do is we're going to make a new boundary around this field. Every field, every year, we end up recording a brand new boundary as we're planting the field. This is a G5 display, same as the Gen 4. And once you have your boundary recorded, you can use your boundary recording for your second pass around the field. So we've got a 40-foot planter, 20 foot from center. We're going to record from the implement itself. We'll hit record. We want to make sure our planter's fired up here, which it is not. We've got our PTO on. We'll turn our electricity on so we can send the power back to the meters, and we need to turn our solution pump on. So we'll just go ahead and get on there. We got seeds is going in the ground and we are planting. So Mike will be here in a few minutes. We've got a load of fertilizer. He went to the field that Jared is in, which is a few miles from here, to grab the fertilizer truck. So he'll bring the fertilizer truck to me, load me, and then he's got to go back to Jared. And then he'll take the truck to the field that we're going to after this one. So we'll join up with you once we get around this field one time. The other thing that we need to show you, the in-furrow drop tubes that we put on this. I put these on this corn planter here the other day, and I don't know if I videoed how they had worked. I know I did the little install. I haven't edited that video currently as we're videoing this one. I haven't edited that one, so I forget what we have done as far as videoing any of that. Well, I got Mike calling. So what we do need to do is we need to adjust our vacuum. We're having an issue. Singulation is not where I want to see it. We get down into 97 or 8% every once in a while. We're going to play with the vacuum to see if we can't maybe work that a little bit. So we're going to drop both of them, both remotes, a little bit here to see if we can't get that singulation to flatten out a little better. We first went down, and then once we see how that does, then what we'll do is we'll take it back up again. That worked very beautifully. We just upped our ground speed, and then we're running in the 99% range. Then back down to 98. We're gonna adjust that again. Come over to our flow, drop a little more. We were running 19 inches of vacuum. And I gotta get over to my vacuum page and see where my vacuum is at. Alright, so we'll see how that does. We might have to fluctuate that a little bit back and forth. So where's my vacuum? My vacuum is at 17 and 16. So I've got the right remote. I've got to increase that guy a little bit. Get our singles and doubles to go away. And not really anything I should be doing on my outside pass around the field here, but we need to keep that right hand side of the planter out of the dingweeds. So we're currently only going 4 miles an hour, and we should be in the prime planting zone. However, we're not. So let's get this back up there a little bit, see if we can't flatten that guy out. Yeah, we're running both. Yeah, we need to pop him down. So we'll play with that a little bit. We'll get back to you to give you an idea how this is working. This seed had larger, slightly larger seeds than the last seed that we were using. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, the singulation is worse. So we'll have to we'll increase the vacuum. See if that doesn't make it better. Alright, we've made it all the way around. We'll hit save. And then what we'll do, we'll come into our guidance page here, set track, new track, boundary fill, next, save. Alright, so now what's doing it is generating a guidance track based upon the boundary that we just made. We've talked about this in past years, so we're running off guidance track now, and it is going to make a 30-inch guess row. So Mike is here with fertilizer. We need to get around this field one more time, then we'll have enough acres planted to where I won't need fertilizer delivered here again. Now on some of these corners, or most of them rather, you need to kind of hand guide the tractor around the corner a little bit, just because it can't quite leave or make that corner perfect. So we're just kind of hand steering it. So we can't quite get our vacuum manipulated here, but we're gonna have to play with that a little bit and try to get the singulation to get a little better than what it is. So we'll get around this field, get some fertilizer loaded. We need to show you guys those seed firmer. Well, it's not a seed firmer, it's just an in-furrow delivery tube that we have installed on this planter. The original seed firmers that we put on this when it was brand new did not work. They bent within the first day. I noticed that a couple of them were bent up in the first short few acres, and then as time went on they were all bent. We took them off, we straightened them, we shortened up the seed firmer itself, reinstalled them. And a week ago today, the first 50 acres I did, it bent all of them again. It did not make me too happy. So we ripped all those off, and Schaefer actually sent us these stainless tubes that bolt in underneath the closing wheel frame bolts. And that tube bends around ever so nicely. And then it's got a rubber flex hose on the bottom of it. Comes down in just past the seed opener discs, and kind of lays right in the trench about an inch above the seed. It works very nicely. Now, with the brush belt assembly, you do not need a seed firmer. That's what we found out. Not only are they not necessary, they will not work. So don't try it. You'll end up getting frustrated like I got. So yeah, we're gonna keep on keeping on here. Make sure we got fertilizer in that front tank. I thought I was out, but I'm gonna be out by the time I get around. Yeah. So all right. Well, we just ran out of fertilizer. I didn't make it all the way around, but we've got 6 acres done in here. There's 34 altogether. So that's gonna put us down 28 acres. And I need to fill right up full in order to have enough here. Yeah. If I fill full, I'll have enough and I won't need this truck back here. We do have another problem, and that is I've got a I've got a bent fertilizer disc on number 9. So we've got one in the seed truck, but that is 3 or 4 miles that away. And Mike is gonna have to grab me one and bring it back on up here. We can get that swapped out. It's the one just to the left of this inside right tire. It's very hard to see. You cannot see number 8 or 9 from the tractor seat all that well, but I just barely caught it dragging some dirt, and every once in a while it would turn and you could see it doing this. So that happens from time to time, and just have to deal with it. Jared swapped one out the other day. We're getting low on fertilizer. We might have to have him raise the hoist up a little bit to get that fluid to flow on to the back here. So we'll get backed up, get our hoses hooked, show you guys them drop tubes, and we'll get on it here. Filling up with 1133 that's in the back tank, that's going in the front tank on the planter, and then we've got a 918.9 going in the saddle tanks that we're running as an in-furrow product. Now on these, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but what we're using now is a stainless tube that bolts in underneath these 2 bolts. Actually, it's using the front bolt. Bends ever so nicely down. It's got a rubber hose about 6 inches long on it. They give you a nice 90-degree elbow to go on the top. Another push lock fitting to go in there to run 1/4-inch tube over to our T-jets. It has been working very nicely. We'll show you actually what the unit looks like in the trench here once we get moving again. But I've got about enough in them saddle tanks. We only put, they're 200-gallon tanks. We only put about 120 to 150 max in them. So we'll get things shut off here, and then we'll show you what that tube looks like in the trench. Alright, we're gonna change this fertilizer disc out quick here. Alright, we got that swapped out. That's got a pretty good sized bend in it there. Wow.
Hit a stone.
Yeah. Well, we're going to send Mike on his way. You think you'll get stuck here, Mike?
Huh?
Think you'll get stuck?
I'm going to just pull
swing
up
up
there.
through there and hammer out of here. Alright, throw that in there. Alright, well, hopefully he don't get stuck pulling on out of here. But we're gonna go ahead and get back on it. Well, hopefully he can get that maneuvered around without getting stuck. It's all downhill from there. It's all downhill. Oh boy, he made it. Alright. That disc will run a little easier now. Mike has made it back to the driveway, which is good. Well, we didn't turn our tanks off. We've got a little more in that left wing than we do the right one from being parked on that side hill like that. So, that's not good. Now even out. Yep. Well, Alex just texted. She's got an object stuck on in her tire on the chisel plow. Today has been just one of them days for problems. My father was discing with a 9410 this morning. Wasn't into his day an hour. And blew a radiator hose. So they're just getting that back up and going now. Kaz had one in Clintonville. He ran after one, got it on there. Christian helped him get it buttoned up, and they're topping off with coolant now. So I've got to check with Alex to see if she's got a wheel and tire on location yet. And hopefully everything is rolling. 9560 will be down until tomorrow. So we're going to keep at it here. Alright, so we are just getting done with this field. We started over in that other one, and we're all done here. So I thought I'd show you what these drop tubes look like setting down in the furrow here. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see good enough here, but here is the little hose, and that is right down in the seed trench there. Kind of see that kind of dragging along, and it is just about an inch above the seed. Here's this one. This one's right there. You kind of see that guy. This works a lot better than them goofy seed firmers. So that's how that works. So with that being said, that is going to do it for this video. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we will catch you at the next one. Everything's been working well on this.